It's us again, but for a different show. Actually, it's his other show that he had created, and
Well,
so the gang's all
Jen.
in for that
Yeah,
one.
I
Oh,
have been
there's Jen.
backstage. No, I've been backstage the whole time. I thought you heard me say, "Give me a second."
Oh,
No, we never heard you, and then we didn't see you come on screen or anything. But yeah, there's Jen, and this is another episode of the Pundits Pundit. I am Denzel Snipes, along with the Jenny come lately, Jennifer Matthews Lewis,
Jenny come incredibly late.
and of
Bite
course,
me, both of you.
and then
I was
right
on
below me
time.
is
Y'all started early.
and right below me is the architect of the show, Jacob Christner, the Pundits Pundit. If you all did not get a chance to yesterday, please go and check out the first ever episode of Pundit Views. I was the first guest, as per my on-screen name, and it was a great conversation, awesome conversation, and here's to many more. So congrats on the brand new show, and I'm looking forward to everyone else that's going to be sitting on the side where I was at.
And one of the things was I just talked to somebody named Andrew Petcash. He's the one I will go back and forth about his sports business. I wanted to tell you this, Jen. He said within the next couple of weeks I can have him.
Yeah, you told me earlier today. That's exciting.
I said I was going to talk to him, and he just got to me right now and said next week's bad, but the week after looks good.
Awesome! Congratulations.
So the thing's looking up. He'd be my first big one, you know.
Yay! That's awesome.
Oh,
big fish out of the ocean already, you know. So before we get started, just wanted to remind everybody that if you are a first-time viewer, awesome, welcome to the asylum. With that being said,
welcome to the jungle. No.
Yeah, I wish I could have cued that music. That welcome to the jungle, you know. But if you're a first-time viewer, make sure you hit that like button, but more importantly, hit that subscribe button, because Sideline Sports, we have a plethora of shows. So it's not just the Pundits Pundit or Pundit Views. There's also the Sports Arena. There's the Gauntlet. There's the Cold Hard Truth. There's Three Chicks in a Pod. There's the NBA Carousel, NFL Carousel. Coming, Jen, but next month is the WNBA Carousel? Is going to be starting up?
WNBA? No, the NBA Carousel is starting up in January.
When is the WNBA one spinning up?
That's a Megan Price, John Shearer collab, and I cannot speak to that. I don't know enough about the WNBA yet, so I don't want to murky up what they've got going on. But no, they started that actually last year.
Okay, gotcha. Well, yeah, of course, that's going to be coming up, and of course, the flagship show, the Silent Sports Show. We got a lot of material, you all. So hit that subscribe button, and most definitely check out the other shows as well as the one that you're watching as well. And we are sponsored by the Score No Score app. You can find it on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And I'd like to get into our first topic. So, once upon a time, there was a man named Miles Bridges who viciously beat his girlfriend. And it caused all the waves and headlines concerning athletes and domestic violence. Apparently, he beat this man in front of her kids, you know, to make kind of his kids, you know. So, you know, I mean, just to kind of rub salt in the wound, you know, so not only you do that in front of your children as well, you know. Well, apparently reports are saying that he is to sign a new deal, and fans are not happy one bit. The perception is that he's being rewarded for his behavior that happened because, well, let's face it, the last time you heard about this guy in the news wasn't because he had some 50-point game. It was for the exact thing that we're talking about. And now he's getting a new deal. And it's kind of akin to the whole when Deshaun Watson signed with the Cleveland Browns, and then now the accusers are all thinking like, oh, well, now he's getting rewarded for doing what he did and whatnot. You know, so it's kind of akin to that. But bringing it back home here, you know, there's a lot of heads rolling on this one. And Jen, I know, well, first of all, it's your team.
Let me go last. I got a lot to say.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You ain't gonna last? Okay, then. So, well, we'll start off with Jacob Christner and your thoughts about this whole thing.
You know, we're going to have something to be said about the Chris Beard also. Chris Beard is going to be on this one today also. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a different view. There's going to be a different view on that and a different outcome.
Right.
But now we're on the other end of the spectrum. And it's a very, very admittedly violent individual that's now getting rewarded for it. And then you're going to see, and you see NFL players like 3 or 4 a year sometimes. Nothing seems to happen to them.
Right.
You know, it's like, when are we it's like, is it? I have a fourth topic tonight. It's going to say the immaturity. Maybe Tom Brady, Ric Flair, and immaturity. Blah blah blah. Now we have immaturity here. We're going to start about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What in the world? What gets into it? Is it drugs? Is it steroids? Is it ego? Is it the toxic? Yeah. Is it the toxic? They call it toxic masculinity. I don't like the term toxic masculinity, but there is a toxicity to these people.
Yes.
That the toxicity is not the masculinity in itself, but where you use it to. And if you're beating up, and you were saying Miles Bridges beat up on what the dad and his in front of his kids.
Yes.
Beat up, which you know something, that dad, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. That's a man that's trying to take care of the kids, everything like that. The kids had to watch their father. We know the mom, but a father that's supposed to be their protector. That's still the whole traditional deal. Get absolutely whooped, and it's embarrassing. Not to mention painful by physical standards, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And here's what you do. Then you think, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the cops. We're going to get this. We're going to get this taken care of. Not only now are you embarrassed, but nothing happened.
Nope.
And then here's the thing. What if he gets it? Well, okay, there was a movie with Idris Elba where he got his revenge on this one guy who was beating himself up in front of the kids and all that kind of stuff. It was a Tyler Perry movie, I think. All that kind of thing. I saw this. But he got his revenge, but that's a movie. What happens if he gets his revenge? The guy will get arrested. The guy will go. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the same money. He doesn't have the same money. He doesn't have the same credentials. He doesn't have the same anything. When does this stop? When does the hypocrisy ever stop? Do we get to a point one day? Because there's hypocrisy in every which way but loose on every bit of this. And that's all I can think about in this is, why is he getting another? Is it because he has the best lawyers? Is it because who is protecting him? That's the only thing I have to ask right now. And the thing is, considering you're in Charlotte right now, I just want to ask the question because I want to get some answers. I want to hear some things from you, Jen.
Okay. This happened in LA. So He's probably not sitting in jail right now because LA is notoriously overcrowded. B, prosecutors should have charged his ass with attempted murder and child endangerment because his 3-year-old son saw the whole thing and tried to stop him. There was audio clips out there for it. C, if I hear one more man say, well, somebody's going to sign him, it should be the Hornets. Bite me. That's why I asked in the sip-off chat, who is the equivalent of Jerry Jones in the NBA as owners? Because here's the thing. LeBron James is defending Miles Bridges. LeBron James defended Kyrie Irving. LeBron James defends the bad guys. Why? Why is Michael Jordan considering signing him again unless it's to trade? But nobody's going to touch his ass. And Jacob, you and I were getting into this in our chat. I don't think the NBA, you look at Cam Newton, NFL quarterback, worst thing he's ever been accused of is having to get a paternity test. Worst thing he's ever been accused of. And that was done and out of the media in 3 weeks. Wasn't even really a blip in the media.
People barely remember it.
Exactly. Why's his ass sitting at home? No, hold on. Hold on 1 second.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why would the NBA, the Players Union, try to sue the NBA for not letting him play when nobody wants that toxicity on their team? I get that the Hornets are sucking it up. I understand it 100%. But they re-signed Miles Bridges. I'll never own season tickets to the Charlotte Hornets again. I'll tell you that much. I'll never go to a game again. I'll never watch a Hornets game. I'll never wear my starter jacket again. Nope. Won't happen. Will not happen. Because that man tried to kill that woman in front of his child who grabbed his leg and spanked daddy's butt and said he spanked daddy's butt and told him to stop because he was being a bad boy. 3-year-old child could barely articulate a sentence. No.
Let me ask you, can I ask something real fast? I wanted to ask this. And I wanted to ask both of you. LeBron protects bad guys. Do you think he's walking on eggshells and just trying to protect a black community in general, and he ends up protecting black and just black people?
I actually do. I feel like he thinks the black community often gets a bad rap, and I get that. I see that.
Too far.
You think I'm too far?
No, not you. I said that's going too far. Because black, white, whatever. I mean, the guy clearly beat his wife. There are some people that's kind of like, because I used to work in the prison. And granted, there are some in there that have been overcharged. There are some in there that are innocent. But there are some that are in there that are absolutely guilty for what they did. And no matter what race they are, it's okay to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to say that. And you know what? And I don't know, maybe you two can answer this. But I'm wondering what the hell is so special about Miles Bridges. Because it's not LeBron that was accused of abuse. Nope. It wasn't Luka Doncic. It wasn't Kawhi Leonard. It wasn't Russell Westbrook. It wasn't any of them. It was Miles Bridges. Literally the only thing we ever heard about this man since he's been in the NBA was this incident. What is so special about Miles Bridges that he needs protecting? Don't get me wrong.
I agree.
No one needs protecting. I don't care who you are. I just want to know what is so special about little old Miles Bridges that everyone feels the need to protect him.
The time frame, era and time frame, I believe. I was just asking you folks this question for this whole deal. The whole era and time frame, we are in the biggest, most ridiculous divide of, and it's pissing me off and it's irritating me. The biggest divide of skin color we've had since '68. We've had the biggest. There are people on social media pissed off that Luka Doncic got a 60-20-10 last night.
Which is ridiculous. But here's my question. Here's my question to stay on topic. If it were Luka that had beat the crap out of his wife and done it in front of his 3-year-old son, if it had been Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller, not a lot of people know that name. Let's go with Cody. What would happen? What if it were Grayson Allen?
Well, we know the media would.
And we all know Grayson Allen's the biggest douchebag to play ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what would happen?
The media would
get this for saving grace?
I will say this much. I will say this much is whether anyone wants to admit it or not, but race does play a factor. And here's a prime example. The NFL is notorious for protecting wife beaters. Notorious.
Yeah. Jerry Jones, that's not you.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. When Ray Rice got hit for what he did, he was punished, and rightfully so, right? Mm-hmm. But he was punished. Well, it wasn't swiftly. It was a debacle, you know what I mean? But he eventually got his point. He never played another down, right? There was a kicker for the New York Giants that openly admitted to beating his wife his entire career. Folks knew about it. No one did nothing. Ray Rice is black. That guy was white.
Yep.
And here's the thing, Greg Hardy, when he was accused, and nobody knows the truth, and I know people who knew both people, the girl and Greg, and he
sure was a Panther, yeah.
And they told me straight up, I could see them both lying about this situation. But you know what? That man, after that accusation came out, never played another down for the Carolina Panthers.
No, he didn't.
But
he was benched before the NFL benched him. Jerry Richardson did not play that game. But we had domestic abuse hit Charlotte harder than most towns. We had Fred Lane, who was shot and killed by his wife.
I remember that.
He was a really good guy. Like, he never laid a hand on her. She actually went to jail for not only that, but for stealing from a bank that I'm not allowed to talk about on air.
What did she shoot him for? Was she abusive herself?
Yes. He walked into that. They were trying to get a divorce. They walked in. He walked in the house to get some stuff, and she and her brother met him in the hallway with a shotgun.
And speaking of Charlotte, North Carolina, and sports and abuse, probably the most infamous case out of that city, Ray Caruth.
Why do you think Jerry Richardson didn't play that game? We had Ray Caruth and Fred Lane back to back.
And he was just released from prison not too long ago.
Like 2 years ago, yeah.
About 2 years ago.
He thought about trying to get custody of his son. And his grandmother was like, whom he lived with, was like, no, sir.
That was never going to happen. One of those
you think of another one? You think of another one, remember, you talk about one that went completely quiet, Matariza. That
wasn't in Charlotte.
That wasn't domestic abuse, but the whole situation all of a sudden has gone a lot more quiet than it does when it first started, which that shouldn't have gone quiet. That is gang
Well,
rape.
it went quiet because the case was dropped.
Which that shouldn't have been.
Because they had proof in that case. They had phone calls that had been recorded. They had her pictures, a rape kit. They had everything. Yeah. They had witnesses. They had the bloody clothes that she was wearing, the torn out like, I don't want to say earrings, but like belly button ring. Yeah, they had it all. Mm-hmm.
And the whole Matariza thing, did that take place? That took place he was at Arizona State. So they were in Arizona.
Was it Arizona State or was it I thought it was in San Diego.
I think he was in. Oh, he might. My bad. It was San Diego. It was.
Okay, I was.
You know what? I'll tell you this much because you said that Miles Bridges thing was in L.A. I wouldn't trust anything law-wise coming out of Southern California.
No, he got some psychologists to back his ass. Look at Danny Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Especially LA. LA is notoriously crooked. From the cops to the lawyers to they're notoriously crooked. I wouldn't trust nothing coming out of LA.
Who shot Tupac?
Yeah.
Danny Masterson. See, Danny Masterson. That just got mistrial.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's just Well, and then we got the thing is, we get all these abuse deals, man and woman. We just brought up two, men and women. We get all the abuse.
And you know what? When you say that, we're gonna go ahead and just bleed on to the next topic. Let me put it on the screen. I'll give a quick synopsis and then I'll let you take it. So, Chris Beard, who the head basketball coach at the University of Texas. Then you had Mickey Joseph, the interim coach at Nebraska, University of Nebraska, and they got accusations of domestic violence. There's still more to come about the Mickey Joseph one. There actually was a new revelation in the Chris Beard one, and that is that his wife actually came out and said that she, in fact, was the aggressor. So now here we have kind of an opposite side of the topic. Same topic, we just kind of split cases here. One side, one guy is absolutely guilty. The other side, is coming out that, oh, wow, he was falsely accused and whatnot. So, Jacob, back to you, man.
Those, for when we hear these, they're like things like with Miles Bridges, we hear all these. You get proof of these. You get the matter rises, as I said. You get proof and it legitimately happens. And then you hear this. And if it's true, and then she admitted it, he basically, so there is no violence that should ever be between a man and a woman, by spouses, by anything. But how do you live with anyone now after this? How do you live in a marriage like that? If she truly did lie, if this is whole thing, if she wasn't just like, oh, she wants to get him home, so she said that she was. If she did do that, basically crushed his career essentially. Because even if he goes back to Texas, people are going to still look at that case. People are going to look at that case, and it's going to crush his career. It's going to crush credentials. What
I read, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. Was that she said she was the aggressor, but that she lied about him strangling her. I have a feeling she's lying about this to save his job.
That could be too.
It could be.
But let's just say
a lot of women will do that.
Yeah, it easily could be. But this is where I'm going with this. Let's just say before I even learned this, I learned this before the show tonight, Jen. What if I didn't even think of her being the aggressor. I was saying, what if she lied and it hurt his career?
Mm-hmm.
What if that was the case? Because this has happened before.
Yeah,
this has happened. But then we have all the either way. How do you live with yourselves after this in a relationship? It's like there is either way. There is flat out. There is pain and suffering. We brought up the word embarrassment. There is everything. It's like horrible words are said in a fight. You can't take back. Horrible things will be remembered. It's almost blackmail. There's so much blackmail that can be used in the thing. Why would you live with anybody like this? And then the whole Fred Lane situation you brought up. And you said he never touched her and she would be the abuser in that situation. And it's like, how this makes me say, Fred Lane, big man. You know what I'm saying? Football player, big man. And I remember when Linda Hogan for about 4 seconds tried to use the whole abusive deal about Hulk. She tried it in her divorce trial. Guy's 315 pounds on average. He would have caved her face, even if he's not a fighter, he would have caved her face in one slap. She never had a mark on her. She tried all this. And it's like, it's the longer you stay, no matter which side you're in, and there's danger on all sides on this. There's going to be, you get so much evil out of everything. Especially with the Fred Lane situation, if he was with her that long and she was abusing him like that, she had a shotgun waiting.
I don't think. Let me look how long they were married real quick. I don't know that they were together that long, but they were married. And I know somebody who, when Fred first came to Charlotte, he moved into this one neighborhood where a guy I used to work with lived, and the guy I used to work with is younger than I. But Fred would take all the young kids up to the candy store and he would start teaching them life lessons about hard work and dedication and following your dream. Like he was giving them life lessons even then.
Yeah. And how do you, it's like, to me, there's it's just more, the longer you just keep doing this because, we're supposed to love each other. It's marriage. It's all this. The more dangerous it is obviously gets. The more dangerous it obviously gets because everything builds up in your head. Everything builds up in your head. There's that memory. There's the embarrassment of what happened. There's the abuse. There's the physical abuse, mental abuse, all that stuff. We forgive you. And then there's the moment. But then everything just builds up and builds up and builds up. And then you get tragedy. You get tragedy. Now, Chris Beard, his career, he might stay at Texas for a bit, but he's going to have less and less and less and less. He's going to have less options now because of all this. Because there's always going to be that belief that, the women always get the thing in social media world. The people will always get that. So that hurt everything. We don't know what happened with Mickey Joseph. He could have easily done that. We don't know the whole story on that. They talk about, they take it more seriously now because they talk about it, and you do get suspended for these. You do get suspensions. Unlike before when that used to happen. But it shouldn't. It should be taken a lot more seriously than it is. And I'm talking everywhere. And it's like, when women lie, they don't go to jail. When the women lie like that. If they are caught lying, they don't get it. And then you get a Fred Lane situation. And it's like, we don't need one side getting a bigger than another. And we don't need it needs to be, abuse is abuse. Mental, physical, and all. Men do it more than women. No doubt. And men do not need to be touching women.
Right.
Ever.
Okay.
But the thing is, we need, and I'll just say this and I'll get to you, Jen. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry.
The thing we got to get whatsoever is we need the whole story everywhere, and that's where the hit and run media never goes.
Yeah,
they jump to conclusions and they get to that, and then that's why a Chris Beard could be ruined, but that's also why a Mickey Joseph, we may never know the whole story.
And don't forget about cases such as Brian Banks and what we talked about before we came on the air, and that was Warren and Felicia Moon. There was a case back in, one was 1994, before where he got hemmed up for domestic violence. And then I want to say it was right there in court. She openly admitted that she was the aggressor, that he was the one that actually was trying to restrain her. He never choked her, never hit her or anything like that. And they know whenever you get someone who lies like that, a woman who lies like that, they know that by doing that, they can ruin his career. Even after the truth comes out, they know there's a heavy chance that team's going to release him. And in the court of public opinion, they're going to deem him guilty anyway. It's all about hurting that person. You know what I mean? It's all about harming them. And it's crazy because, you know, I do my research, look around. There are other countries who actually will hold female women accountable for like lying like that. I think England's one country who does it, you know. But I did find one case. Say again? Oh, yeah. It's, you know what? It's slowly starting to happen more and more in America because there was the one girl out of New York State, and she falsely accused two guys of rape at a party, and there was witnesses that said, oh, no, it was consensual. But meanwhile, they were kicked off the football team that lost their scholarships, you know. But she also got a year in jail. So there's also that as well. But go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was going to say, so basically, Deidre Lane, Fred's killer, ended up pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter in 2003. She only served 6 years. She was let out in 2009. The prosecutorial team painted her as an abusive woman. Her defense team said, no, she's a battered woman. Here's the deal. She was stealing money from a bank where she was employed at the Arboretum, and she and another person were stealing money, cash money. And she was and she was accused of killing Fred for the insurance money. And she was she received credit for jail time served waiting on a federal charge of conspiracy to commit bank larceny. Like, she stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from the bank she worked at. So who am I going to believe? Fred Lane, guy who took a lot of kids in the neighborhood to go buy candy? Mm-hmm. Or am I going to believe Deidre Lane, lady who was stealing money from her employer?
Yeah. And that's another beef that I have too, is when it comes to the system like this. Right. Yep, that one also. And I think she had gotten locked up as well. But, you know, that's also kind of the beef that I have with the justice system, another one of the long list. And that is, at some point in time, it becomes political. It becomes about numbers. And what they do is they offer these people plea deals for these heinous crimes just so they can get a conviction. You know? Just so they can go, you know, and so here you have it. She only served 6 years. She's out and about now. She's been free for what, 13 years? And that man's never coming back.
Nope. And he's still talked about here in Charlotte to this day. But you want to know, like, when I was in college, my roommate, I did not particularly care for her because she was a drama queen. One of my friends and one of my best friends, her boyfriend at the time, one of my best friends, her boyfriend, like, all of us were friends except for my roommate. But I was nice, and I allowed my roommate to hang out with us one night in his dorm. Mm-hmm. The guy was shit canned. Sorry for saying it, but, like, there's no other way to say it. And we all left. The girlfriend and I left. I thought my roommate had left too. But then we turned around. We were like, where are they? And we went back to the room, and we caught the girl doing things to our friend who really was so drunk, he didn't know which way was up. But I knew. I looked at my girlfriend who had just been cheated on, and I said, we need to go protect him right now and tell security because she's going to try to claim attempted rape. Mm-hmm. And we did. And the campus security guard walked up to me the next day, and he goes, how'd you know she was going to do that? And I said, I live with her. I know her. Yep.
Who else but her roommate, you know?
Yeah, like, I knew it. But she was crazy enough to tell me my alarm clock reminded her of IRA bombings. Like, yo, for real?
Exactly, yeah.
Make that up.
and you know what? And here's another thing, because I mentioned the whole the race thing with, as far as the message, the whole Ray Rice and the kicker from the Giants and everything. But and more than people want to admit, there's favoritism towards women in the justice system as well. Because that girl only got 6 years. Now, had that been the other way around and Fred shot her dead, Fred would have got 20 to life. I bet anybody money.
Well, not even 20. It'd be 2,800 years plus all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's another thing that's got to be. It's got to be fair across the board.
There was somebody we were looking at signing, and Tepper actually listened to public opinion on that one and didn't sign that player. I don't remember who it was because they had whispers, like strong whispers of abuse against women. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing Richardson was really good about. Like, he was not going to play around with his team and domestic abuse.
Right.
Like, it wasn't going to happen because you literally had Fred Lane, Ray Caruth back to back. Then you wait a couple of years, you have Greg Hardy, if he heard a whisper, he had PIs investigating it. And if he found out that there was a molecule of truth, that player was cut from the Carolina Panthers.
Never gone.
Yeah, gone. He wasn't going to play that game.
Never gone. I want to say something before we go on to the next. I want to say something here before we go to the next. Uh-huh. This is to people out there. And I hope they hear it 5-10 years from now when we got a bigger deal. I hope everybody hears this. If you're with someone, man, woman, whatever. I mean, it could be a gay relationship, anything. Any of these. If you're with someone and it's more than just arguments and it's more than just fights and you're feeling it, and if you have any level of embarrassment through the situation and things get more chaotic as the time goes on and you're not even married yet, get out. Get out. I'm saying to both men and women, get out, because we're here. Everything we're talking about tonight ended in tragedy. Everything other than the Chris Beard, Mickey Joseph, that's not a tragedy yet right now. One's just about to lose his career, most of his career. But we're talking about a lot of these ended in physical tragedy. Fred Lane, a good man. You brought that up, Jen. A good man.
That's a domestic hotline phone number also, if anybody needs it.
Good. Mm-hmm. Get out before. And I like you put that right there. I love that you did that. The thing is, before anything, okay, I don't care you have a great sex life or whatever. Get out. It ain't worth all that. And because there's going to be somebody out there that is nothing but loving, and that's going to be your best friend.
But chances are, in an abusive relationship, you're not even having that much sex.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying they might use it as an excuse. But I'm like, you can think for that moment because you're so sad that you're not going to find anyone else. There's always that. There's that one person out there that is the sweetest alive, and they will treat you well. They will do that. They're going to get to that. Just don't allow this.
And we all know people. And I won't say her name publicly, but we all know somebody within Sideline Sports who was in an abusive relationship, and she got out.
Mm-hmm. It can happen. Mm-hmm. It can happen.
And there's other people, like I know some other stories from Sideline Sports people. I'm not going to share, man, woman, whatever. But yeah, like they get out. And you know what? It's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And abuse is all sorts. Abuse is all sorts. So just get out.
Yep.
You deserve better.
Do not let it get tragic, because it eventually will.
Yep.
Especially if you have kids. But moving on to our next topic, we're at about the midway point of the show. And so
let's go light here. Let's go light on this one.
Yeah, let's go a little light here.
That's just stupid. You punish somebody for winning. Whatever.
Yeah, Montclair Immaculate and other schools suspending coaches for winning big. My first thought when I heard this was, I hope y'all never win another game. Like I know that's unfair to the kids, but that's the school. It's the kids paying for the sins of the school, I guess. I don't know. It makes no sense, man. Listen, it's a game. It's a football game. Don't forget that it's their job on the other side to stop us. And we've seen crazier things in sports, because if we allow a comeback, we're jokes. But if we win big, I get suspended. Make that make sense. You can't. You absolutely cannot. How do you get punished for winning? I don't care how much it's by. At the end of the day, sports is sports. There's no participation trophies. Look, it is what it is, okay? Even the greats have been blown out. You know, it doesn't make them less great in the future or anything like that. I recall Tom Brady getting blown out by the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. He won a Super Bowl that year. You know? So
he also got beat by Buffalo 31-0. Got beat by Buffalo 31-0 and won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that was his first game following it. It was week 1 following the Super Bowl victory. But my thing is this though, is like it makes absolutely no sense. There's no you sit here and talk about sportsmanship. Look, go shake their hand after the game, be cool with them. You know, that's about as far as sportsmanship goes. Sportsmanship should not happen on the field like, oh, I'm going to take – like, y'all didn't agree to have, like, a running clock or something or, like – because they do that in high school. Hey, let's only play, like, half the quarter because this is out of hand. Let's have a running clock or something like that. They negotiate that type of stuff all the time. Like, you couldn't, like, come to that. But instead, it's like, oh, well, let me suspend – if I'm the coach at Montclair Immaculate or any of this other, I'm leaving. I'm like, no.
That was a basketball game, by the way, 100-30.
Yeah.
What, were they playing me?
Well, no, here's the thing, Quint. Here's the deal. And you got 30 by yourself. You're awesome.
Right?
No, but here's the thing. My alma mater, Quincy High, there's this team in the conference that never has a chance. Rock Island Alleman. They're a Catholic school within the Peoria Diocese. They get curb stomped every year. Right now, they found a coach and they've got like 2 or 3 wins right now. Good for them, you know. But they had lost 37 straight before that.
Yeah.
And they'd lost 37 straight before that. Quincy won a game, that same score, 100-30 last year. No suspensions, no anything. And I can say this, that was a team that athletically, size, everything has no business on court with a team like Quincy, who has a player that's going to go to the University of New Orleans. He's got a player who's going to be 6'8" by his senior year, who's already getting looked at by Division I schools. All that, they're all that stuff. You want to know what Rock Island Allman has? A football player going to Notre Dame, and they're happy about it. But that's one. But I'm saying I think he's an offensive lineman or something along those lines. But they're happy on that. But Quincy High is 2,100 people. I think Alleman's down to like 300. They were at 1,250 at their highest. They had no business on the court, but there's no suspensions. It's like, and see, Alleman's a Catholic school, and I don't think if they would have done the other way around, I don't think they'd suspend them. At some point, we're going to have to quit this. We're walking on eggshells. We're walking on eggshells over feelings. It's like, this is where we get people talking about that regular masculinity is toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the thing. You can't just show people and young people at that playing a game with integrity and winning, you get penalized for it.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That's not what the American dream was built on.
Nope.
Not at all. That's the antithesis.
Yeah.
It is, absolutely. But this does raise a question, though, and I'll ask the both of you. Do you think, because everything's obviously not put out there, right? We don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Sure.
Do you think something was going on? I don't know who he pissed off. Something unrelated, you know, and they had to find something to suspend him on?
Could possibly be.
Probably.
Politics.
Mm-hmm.
Politics gets into these things all the time. They get into these other things, but you have to wonder, though, how much are the kids going to play for the rest of the year? Remember, this is only middle of the year, so they're not thinking of their. Remember, most high schools they're playing tournaments. You know, everybody plays in the tournament. You know, of some type, regionals at least. But you have to wonder 3 months down the road when regionals hits, how hard are they going to play when you got to play real schools? They're going to be wondering. That's the whole point of when you're playing someone. When you're playing someone that's beneath you. That's the whole point to curb stomp. I'm just saying this is the truth. Because you're going to play a team that might be able to do it to you, and you might want to get ready.
Yeah.
You might want to get ready. And so what's this going to do for the kids right now? Okay, they're up 10. Are they going to back off and let the team come back because they don't want their coach in trouble?
Excuse me.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Are they going to do that? And it's like these whole things, you can't – I mean, okay, this is only just men's. There was a team that won 102-0 this year in girls basketball. They won 102-0. I think that was another suspension. And I'm like, suspend the person that put that the scheduling together.
Hey, you know, high school ball is not like high school ball when we were in high school, okay? You know, where if you had a 10-point deficit and it might take you 5 or 6 minutes to overcome it, these high school teams have adapted to like the pros, and in particular, they're letting the threes fly now. So ain't no 10-point lead safe.
No. I mean, last night we talk about 9 points, 27 seconds left, and Dallas comes back.
Yeah.
Dallas comes back. That's what that was. That's unreal. And it's like, no, these aren't safe leads anymore where you get to that thing. It's like, I remember when the 10-point lead, 3 minutes left, it's like, well, let's go.
That's it.
No, we can go see. And it could come back or not. But it's like, now that's 30 seconds.
Yeah. Let you have a 10-point lead on the Warriors right now. They can erase it in literally like 20 seconds if you let them. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But I don't get, I mean, like, you know, I'm with Jen on this one, and you too, Jacob. You know, like, it sends the wrong message. Why would you tell your own players to back off? And then if you lose because you choked a huge league, like, well, you're kind of the GOAT, not GOAT in uppercase, GOAT in lowercase, of the week at your school. You know, so, you know, but I don't know. I'm wondering what happened politically that got him suspended. What was the real reason why he got suspended? Is it because he wasn't a kiss ass? Is it because something else unrelated? I don't know. And even still, you know, that's already bad enough, and it is, you know. But then you look and it's like, well, he got suspended because he won too big at last night's game. That's really going to get people's wheels turning, and not even that much. It's like, oh, no, there's something else going on.
That's reminding me of the video that I saw yesterday on Jimmy Johnson from 30 years ago, which is still big today. No question. They are asking him, why is he, why do a lot of the coaches don't take chances? He said this is when he had just won his first Super Bowl and he'd come from Miami. You know what I'm saying? He said, when I came from Miami, they didn't want me here. It's such a boys club, and they didn't want me in there. And one of the biggest things is a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches, they'll take their chances once in a while. They'll let it fly, but most of the time, because they want a job when they're out. When they're out, they want to get a job somewhere else. It's like job over. Why is Matt Nagy, why did he have a job immediately? I mean, he was a terrible coach for the Bears, win or whatever. Why is Matt Canada being considered for 2 or 3 other teams when he's gone from Pittsburgh? They're already talking about that. He'll be gone. And he's terrible. These are guys that average 15, 16 points a game. Matt Nagy, 61% of his career games under 300 yards. Yet he's right back in the offense, even a quarterback thing with Kansas City. Yeah. That's the whole point. There was politics involved when you get back into that, you know, that you get another job. And they said he says, I want to win, but if somebody that wants to win as hard as he does, there is a very high downside. You better win to do there, or you could not have a job. Is that fair? No. And I'm wondering how much of this is in high school basketball. I wonder how much politics is in this when that happens. Yeah.
Well, you also got to keep in mind regarding the whole Jimmy Johnson thing is Jerry Jones is an idiot. You know, I understand, you know, Jimmy Johnson wanted to win, and you know what? I mean, it was him sticking to his guns as to why he got fired. And now Jerry Jones will tell you, I did win one post Jerry Jones. But let's face it, Barry Switzer won with Jimmy's team. Switzer didn't do anything. He didn't fix what wasn't broken. He didn't do anything. He didn't. And if you notice, since then, they have not sniffed another Super Bowl, which is what I keep telling you Cowboys fans at home. As long as the old man's in charge, you won't sniff another Super Bowl. I don't care if it's this year, next year, whatever. When he's gone, y'all might be back.
I'm going to ask you something in a second, Jen. But here's what I say with that. I've said this on one of my pundit points way early back before I had a show. I said the reason, and you'll be seeing, you can see it on my YouTube channel. I said the one thing about Jerry Jones is that you're not going to see this $2 to $4 billion Jerry Jones that keeps going to get money. You're not going to see him go after a Jimmy Johnson, you know, the old wildcatter, the one that borrowed money twice from the Teamsters, the gutsy, no nonsense. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see that guy. That's the one that won Super Bowls. This is the safe $2 billion, $4 billion guy trying to make money. You won't. If he found his wildcatter side one more time, yeah, he could win, but it's not going to come. And I wanted to ask this to you, Jen. By itself, have you coached before? I'm just asking real quick.
I was a swim coach.
Okay, you're a swim coach. Would there be anything if there was politics involved? Would there be anything that would keep you from ever wanting to win? Anybody would say back off, or we're going to suspend you. Would you listen?
No. So, I'm not going to teach kids that it's okay not to bust their butt to win, as long as it's within the rule of play, and you're doing everything with integrity, and you're busting yourself, and you're beating yourself. Like, not beating yourself up, but like competing with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those things. That's what I wanted to bring. It's like, how much of it truly is them in fear of their jobs because they have families? It's like.
But here's the thing, Jake. You've got to remember, like, whatever setback is always a setup for something so much better than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So this coach at Montclair Immaculate, who knows? He might be getting a junior college or a college coaching job next.
Yeah.
And maybe he got in trouble because the entire varsity team was sick and they were playing the JV team. Who knows? But it's still not. I mean, it's not cool. I mean, if that were the case, then the other team needed to just, forfeit the game if everybody was sick. And that's a possibility. COVID's still out there. The flu's still out there. Things are still there.
Well, COVID's always going to be out there. That's just what it is. It's a virus now.
Well, yeah, but that's my point.
Yeah. Those are the things, but as I said, you're right. It's like that something can be led better, but in the moment, everything with people, we're all human beings. A lot of things happen. It's the emotion of the moment. Oh, am I going to get myself another job? Am I going to be everything? And it's like, and at some point we have to have, that's the one thing I always respected about Jimmy Johnson and what he said is he got one more job after they retired. Okay, Miami. He got the job immediately. You get my point? He got those. But he was willing to take the large downside to get rid of that whole idea that I got to be safe. I've got to do this so I can get other jobs. I respect that. And it's like, I think this is where fans and coaches always clash, because fans, I call fans emotional nitwits all the time, but I give this one point. A lot of them do want to win.
Right.
They just don't know what they're talking about. Well, but they want to win. There's the clash of that between the coach that wants jobs. Do the coaches want to win? Absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do the coaches want to win? Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. A bigger win means a bigger opportunity. You get yourself a coaching job. D'Amico Ryan's about to get one. You get to those ideas. You get your thing bigger. I mean, you want bigger, badder, better. But at the same time, what happens if you embarrass what they consider embarrassing? It's one thing if you actually did embarrass them. It's another if you're just trying to go out and win and stuff like that. They don't get you jobs anymore. That's where I think about this in the first place. Like, you should go for the win all the time. But a lot of people treat it, and I'll say this part. A lot of people treat it like a lot of quarterbacks do too. Treat it like they're millionaires that are treating it like a regular job that they're afraid to lose.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Jen.
No, it's okay.
No, I want you to say real quick. I'm sorry. I think that was all Jen had. Say something. No, I'm sorry about that. I know you wanted to say something, Jen. That's why I'll just leave it to you before we go on.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, speaking of people who like to win, Tom Brady and Ric Flair, they're the next topic.
That's our last topic. I was going to, But Tom Brady, Ric Flair, and a real bad immaturity problem. Now, with these two examples, a lot of people would say that these are two men who long overstayed their welcome. So whose topic was this? Jen, was this yours? Oh, it's Jacob. Okay. Yeah, I kind of wanted to see what angle you were coming from on this one. I kind of see where you're getting at, but yeah, go ahead and kick this one off, man.
And I have a different viewpoint in a minute on Ric Flair, at least.
Ric Flair won't go away. Will not go away, and he kept. Now,
you want him to?
Huh?
Do you really want him to?
And from the ring, yes, because he's going to die right there. It's like he could teach it. He could get everything. I think he could be a manager. But
Wait 1 second. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry.
Okay. But one, I will say this. Yeah, I want him to go. I want him to be a manager. He can still take bumps. He could be a manager and help as a thing, old school manager. I saw his return to the ring. That is the most miserable pile of crap I've ever seen in my life. He would say, I had dehydration. You're over. I was saying this, Jen. Ric Flair, I said that his final match that they really promoted and it did fill the stadium. They filled it. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen in my life.
It was.
And he said, I had dehydration. You're over 70 years old. It's going to happen again. That's what happens to the human body. The whole idea of the human body is when you're over 70 and you're working out, looking good. It's for looking good and having the physical thing, not that kind of physical exertion.
Yeah.
That kind of physical exertion.
And dehydration's for real. Like, honestly, Alton is diabetic and he's gone to the hospital twice because of dehydration.
Oh, I know it's real. I get dehydration too. I had to go to a hospital when I was at a construction site years ago. Had to have 2 bags of IV in me. Oh, yeah. It's real. But
I told Alton in the future, if he gets it again, we're just going to an IV hydrotherapy place.
Yeah.
I was like, that's $100 versus $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're absolutely
the same thing.
But it's going to, even if he was to do 50 bottles of water again, that's not meant to, his body's not meant to be taking bumps, not meant to be doing that thing. Professional wrestling is quick shot, boom, boom, that kind of thing. Be in the moment, be in the corner. It's physical exertion to be on stage as an actor.
Have you ever met Ric Flair? He stays in Atlanta, so I'm asking.
I have not.
I've met him. Alton's met him because he lived in the neighborhood next to mine. Like, I lived in the poor version of his neighborhood. Yeah. And and like he was always around town. Like as we got older, like he would even hang out. Like Alton and I were at a really nice French restaurant one night, and it's one where Rick used to hang out a lot. Ric Flair has zero self-esteem.
Yeah, I know this.
Keep in mind, he was the #1 wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
So zero self-esteem, plus being the #1 wrestler in the world. Where else is he going to get his accolades at? He
says this all the time in his interview. He said it in one of his documentaries. He said that thing himself. It's like he doesn't want to grow up, and it's because he always shows, like on his phone. He'll always show his promos. He'll always show his matches. He'll watch it back and forth and back and forth. He hates getting old.
Yeah.
And he hates getting old, and it's like, and then his 5th wife, Wendy, who has done everything, including help with his colostomy bag, did everything like that. He lets her go because he wanted to go party.
Yeah.
She was.
But at that point, it's not so much he wants to. He was addicted to alcohol at that point. There's a difference. He needed rehab. He needs rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a huge difference between wanting to party and having to have it. Like, we're talking about a man who would go into the bathrooms and nice restaurants here in Charlotte, pass out while he's pooping. Like, true fact.
You talking about Flair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can see that.
Yeah, true story. And he lost so much money because of all the marriages. He needed to stop getting married.
Yeah. Well, see, the Wendy thing pissed me off, though, because Wendy was the true one that cared.
No, they all cared. I say.
I get to that point, but Wendy, I'm talking about, when I say care, I'm talking about the colostomy bag, everything, all of that. I mean, that was such a beautiful story, and it's like some. I saw a video of him. I saw this little thing. He's at a bar. This is the guy who was the top of the walk. He's at the side of a bar looking at his phone, just like any of us. And someone goes up to him and says, I don't know who you are, but this guy says you're famous. Would you like to have a picture? I would not. And he was such a grouch and cranky and all that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because that's rude.
Yeah, that's rude.
I don't know who you are, but this other dude says you're famous. Can I get a picture?
I agree with that.
You.
But what I'm saying is,
that's rude of that person.
Absolutely, completely true.
And even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know the name Ric Flair.
You know the name, exactly.
Yeah. You know the woohoos, especially between Charlotte and Atlanta, because he's an Atlanta Falcons fan. Yeah. When there's a famous story here in Charlotte that the Carolina Panthers actually had him come in to give a pep talk before a Falcons-Panthers game. He went into the Falcons locker room and gave them a pep talk instead.
Oh, wow.
Of course, obviously Jerry didn't pay his ass, but you know
you said that he's a Falcons fan. He's been a fan of whoever goes to the top. I mean, he's freaking Drake.
No, keep in mind the Falcons have been around longer than the Panthers have, so it makes sense. He was a Falcons fan because he lived in Charlotte. My mother-in-law once ran into him at Rite Aid, if y'all remember Rite Aid's here in Matthews, and was like, "Stay here. My son's right next door in the video, the video store, of VHS video rental tape store, like Blockbuster or whatever." And she was like, "Let me go get him." So she went and got Alton came back, and Rick actually waited for him, and he was getting a prescription for his daughter. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, he waited to meet Alton. So when people say he's immature and all that, he is, but he's also got this really big, kind heart. I understand why he told that idiot to bugger off.
No,
I would have told him to bugger off.
No, I completely agree. That wasn't my point. What I was saying he is now us, but he doesn't want to be. You know, the ones that we're at the bar and we're looking at our phone. He's the guy that wants. That's what I'm talking about with what his thing is at a bar. It's like this is the guy that was the talk of the cock of the walk, and he goes into any bar and he's buying them drinks and all that stuff. He's now at the bar just looking at the phone, just like us.
Yeah, he's at the bar because he wants human companionship.
Yeah, and
he doesn't want to go home and drink alone.
But yeah, he hates being alone. He admits he's scared of it. And and bringing that up with Brady now. Bringing it up with Brady, the way that I've always said this. I said this from the last year. I said if he wins again, he is not going to retire. And it's like he's not getting. He's like, oh, I want to retire with World War Super. No, he won't. He's addicted to the action. And I was saying he should have left when he had 5,300 yards, and it took a final drive by Stafford to take him out. That's the way you should have gone if you're not going to go out with the Super Bowl. But instead, he's got to keep going. I got to keep going. He's lost his marriage.
Question. Did he lose his marriage because he came back, or did he come back because his marriage was already over?
There's a possibility, but it's like
good question.
That's a good question.
I actually think he came back because his marriage was already over.
But at some point, though, you can find other ways of competing. Look at all the things I talked about the next couple of weeks when I have Pet Cash on that new show. We're going to talk about sports business. There's so many ways that people could be making billions now. There's new ways to compete. It's like at this point in time, you're 45 going on 46, and you're doing this type of thing. You're just scared to get old.
Yeah.
You're scared Jen, this is what I'm thinking, though. You're scared to get old. You're scared to say when you're young, you're physically strong. When you're old, you're wise. And
I think, Tom Brady has admitted he's immature. Like back in 2013, he even said, I sometimes whine and act like an immature brat to get my wife's attention. The funniest part, though, is that and every single husband will do that. I don't care who you are. Every single boyfriend will do that. I don't care who you are. It just happens. Some girlfriends do it. Me, I'm like, I'll text my husband and be like, pay attention to me. I'll be like, it's not whining. I'm just like, talk to me, put your phone down. But that's how I know he'll get read the message. Literally, he'll get the message. But however, I think with Tom Brady, when Antonio Brown is calling you immature, I'm sorry.
That's pretty bad.
No, I don't believe Antonio. Antonio didn't like being called out because he wasn't doing his job.
I mean, in that sense right there, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black. But but it's pretty bad when even he says something. Yeah. I agree. I think Tom is addicted to winning. I think it's going to cause, and I'm afraid for him because I think it's going to cause a legitimate mental issue when he leaves the game because he's not going to know what to do. Keep in mind, and you all talking about, there's millions of other ways to make money. Tom Brady still has this 10-year, $300+ million deal with Fox to announce games whenever he retires.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. I think he'll play one more year. Calling it now. I made a lot of people mad. You both know it in the Sideline Sports chat. I said, Tom's not done yet. Watch, he'll come back. I got land blasted. Yeah. And then when he said he was coming back, I said, told you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I was right. And I think Tom will come back one more season just so he can settle into divorce life.
And the reason why you got lambasted like that is because
nobody wanted him back.
Well, here's the thing. It was supposed to have happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago, everybody was like, oh, he's done. And then what did he do? Win another Super Bowl.
And you know what? I think he's going to win another Super Bowl again. But that's just me.
That also brings up Jacob's point. He wins another Super Bowl, he's going to come back. Because he's going to win another one.
I think he'll go out. If the next Super Bowl he wins, I think that'll be his last one.
It's just
we said that when he won with the Buccaneers. That was a perfect opportunity to walk.
I never said he was leaving then. I said he's not done yet. And I knew when he said before last year's final playoff game before the Super Bowl, before the Super Bowl, the last playoff game, and he announced, "Oh yeah, I'm Tom Brady. Of course, I get calls other quarterbacks don't get." I said he just done kicked them out of the run.
Yeah,
and
the season's over. He'll be back next year.
I just would like to see him walk on his own power. I don't want an injury. Right. I don't want fate to hit him with an injury that says now it's time to go.
He'll stay with the Bucs if they fix the O-line a little bit and protect them some more.
Let me bring this. This is not a thing. I mean, Tom Brady's one of the smartest quarterbacks of all time. We're not going to say that part is going to be. His brain is the second.
I hate complimenting him. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, but you know something? I'm going to bring this. What's happened to Ric Flair? I think what happened with the Hulk Hogan case with Hulk, where it basically ruined his movie and in public career. But you know something? I couldn't be happier that it did that now that I see what's gone with Flair. That it's gone with a lot of people that can't let it go. I'm glad it maybe had been forced, but you want to know something? The guy's got 3 houses, got 2 businesses, everything. I mean, he just bought another, everything like that. He's got a car. He's got a pretty damn sweet little car thing in his garage. Probably like 12 hot rods. Nice little thing he can work on.
Come back a couple of times, including the last 12 months. Right. So, he's not completely done.
It's not completely done, but he's not there in the same light and think forever.
I think it calmed him down enough to take a step out of the limelight and to get rid of that godforsaken reality show.
Yeah, and I couldn't be happier now because I'm watching him with kind of a sort of a walking stick now because his back's bad, but he just looks like the old sage. He's got that mustache. He looks like the old sage. And, you can give story. He's making money from businesses. He could have his stories. He could be able to do us. Maybe he'll do a podcast one day. Who knows? Bill Maher said it perfectly once. When you're young, you're beautiful. You're old, you're wise.
Yeah.
That's the way life is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And it's and this is where the thing is. This is where I talk about with these two over here. We're not supposed to. It's and I used to hear my dad say, "Well, I've got one good one in me." Because that kind of thing. I got one good one. That's when I knew his time was coming. When he said, "I got one good one in me," and it's that means that you're getting older and you don't have the same balance. You don't have the same anything. And it's but guess what? You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to try to keep your brain and teach and be wise and do everything. That's what age is. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I don't want to see Ric Flair die in the ring because he already had a pitiful bad match. I don't want to see Ric Flair have bad matches. He's supposed to have wonderful matches. We're supposed to remember that.
Right. I'll say this, man. Then we got to wrap up. We're 4 minutes over. Yeah. Here's where I also empathize with Ric Flair, and to a certain extent, I don't blame him for wanting to keep going. I want you to keep in mind that he was in a horrible plane crash sometime in the 1970s, and doctors told him he would never wrestle again. Mm-hmm. To come back from that, Mm-hmm. I think any one of us would be like, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels hurt his back, Royal Rumble 98. Doctor said he could never wrestle again. He came back 4 years later and wrestled 8 more years.
Travis Barker,
yeah. He
was told he could never play drums again because of all the burns.
Right. So you kind of don't. So you kind of don't blame them for keeping going. The big difference between Shawn and Ric Flair, obviously, is Shawn knew when it was time to go. Shawn knew, and actually it was interesting too. Shawn's story is it was sometime before WrestleMania 25, and someone in the backstage crew was talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, my son just celebrated his 9th birthday," and so the crew member said, "Oh, your son's halfway gone." Halfway gone meaning at 18 you leave the house. And Shawn realized, he said, "Man, that hit me because I don't want to miss my son growing up the rest of the time." You know what I mean? That was his cue. He was like, "After this, I got 1 more year." And then that was it. But Shawn knew when to walk away. Could Shawn have gone another 3-4 years? Absolutely. That man stayed in peak physical condition. But he knew when it was time to go, But we do have to wrap up.
He still looks good. And to this day, he still looks. See, that's the thing. He does yoga and he stretches every morning. He still looks good. He doesn't need to be taking bumps and then doing a choreography of beating people up. He doesn't need to be doing that. He's training people now, and he looks tremendous.
Yes, and you know what else looks tremendous? Doing yoga? DDP. Yeah. And he's saving lives.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he's saving lives,
Yep.
But we went pretty hard this episode. Thanks everybody for
thank you. And I will say this, Josh Norman, welcome back, baby.
He's back with the Panthers?
Hell yeah, baby.
Welcome back. All right. And so and hey, they still got a shot to win the division. The Panthers are still in it. They're still in it.
56.8% of people, according to a poll from Good Morning Football, want the Panthers to win the NFC South.
All of them were you. Just continue to.
I didn't even know about the poll until I was watching it today on YouTube.
She voted once as Jennifer Matthews, then another as Jenn Matthews, then another as Jennifer Lewis, then another one as Jen Cheryl L.
You don't have that many Twitters.
she Jennifer ML.
Three chicks.
Three
chicks, Jen. Yeah. But
now.
Yeah, I know, right? Jenn the Pundit, yeah. But hey, speaking of which, Jen, if you can let everybody know kindly where everyone can follow you.
Well, you just gave them my Twitter handles, so thank you.
Oh, you're 26 of them, of course.
You can also find me on most Sideline Sports shows. 3 Chicks in a Pod, Chicks and Salsa are my babies. Those are Tuesday nights at 7:30. The NBA Carousel will be starting up in January on Monday nights. You can also find me Tuesday nights on tonight, Tuesday. Yes. Pundits Pundit. No, today's Wednesday. Tuesdays are 3 Chicks. We'll also have confidential time and date, not determined yet, but that will be second season kicking off in February or so. And then NFL, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, sometime producer with Basket Bros, and Inside the Pigskin with Scott Morganroth.
All right. And, well, we already know Jacob has like 8 shows. 2 of them are non-sports related. He's also in a film. He just signed for a new one. And he just got tabbed by NASA for a space mission. That sound accurate?
He's going to play.
You completely forgot my weekend thing to Mount Everest.
Yes. And he'll sell you a suit. Go ahead.
Hey, and eyeglasses.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Sunday nights with you and Will, and hopefully Dom one day when he gets off the beer. But no, he drinks beer when he does. Anyway, the Basket Bros, which I'm trying to work on a first guest. Working on it.
Okay.
So well,
you've already had your first guest.
We had a
couple of guests.
Yeah, we've had Ray J on there.
But we'll work on that, and Scott and everything. Monday nights, I'm going to go to when your season ends. I am going to, because of my show, I'm going to move back and do Monday nights with the Pundit Views. I'm going to do Tuesday for now. They go back to Monday. And we're working with those, and I'll be doing Tuesday with Confidential. Wednesday nights, doubleheader, Pundit Pundit. Pundit Pundit and Pundits Pundit and with Scott, and then also Sports Exchange. Thursday nights, TJ Sanson with Yin and Yang. We have our first guest tomorrow. And then once in a blue moon when I'm called, Gauntlet, but not all the time. And then
yeah, Jay.
What? We're back. We're back this Friday.
You have to invite me, Dom.
No, but I've had 6 times on Gauntlet. So
quit
I'm happy.
bragging.
So,
oh no, he's coming. He's coming back pretty soon. That poll is actually going to go out for Player of the Week. And Jen, whenever you're available and you're not on a Friday night tailgating at the Panther Stadium for Sunday's game, you know.
I want to go remember the game. I don't want to, even when we suck. I want to remember the game. I pay a lot of money for tickets. There's no point in drinking it all away.
Totally understandable.
What's drinking it all away? I don't know that. What's drinking?
Well, you don't drink, so there's that. You know? Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for staying overtime with us, and we will see you next week for an awesome episode of the Pundits Pundit. Later.
Take care.
Have a good night.